Hey guys, this is Moody. This is Jack. We're Super Debate Bros, and today we're talking about All Out 2024.
Yeah, so today we're going to kind of go over the match card like we've been doing. Once again, we're going to skip the 0 hour just because, nothing really of note happens there too much other than the Costco guys bring in the boom. But other than that, nothing too much to talk about. Also, just before we get started on this topic, tomorrow we are going to be doing the Jordan versus LeBron debate. So make sure you tune in. We'll probably be streaming around 8:30 Central. So if you're watching, if you want to check it out, please do. As well as we'll be releasing the video shortly after. So without further ado, I'm going to kick it off with the first match, the opening match of the night: MJF versus Daniel Garcia. One of the better, mini feuds that they built coming into this. It was a great way, I think, to open up the card. Truly, you get two young guns going at it. MJF, obviously, like me and Moody, I think agree, one of the best stars on AEW, going against Daniel Garcia, who's one of the better technical wrestlers. I think kicking it off this way was a great way to get the crowd invested and get them going. I don't know what you think, Moody.
The match was fantastic. First of all, I was at the show, so you know, I noticed, my friend Luke obviously noticed, AJ and Big Justice right away, which I didn't notice, FYI, until later on. But yeah, this MGF had a really cool entrance for this match. As usual, great heel. This rivalry's been building for a while. Um, and this was a great way to start the match. First of all, the match was already kind of nasty from the beginning. It was a nasty bump to the outside, from what I recall. Um, you know, the first part, one thing that sticks out, like Daniel Garcia bleeds right away. Just just already getting color in, and they do the little thing where he's gonna do the tombstone. Daniel Garcia's about to do the tombstone to MJF, and actually spits blood into MJF's mouth. But MJF's about to reverse it, and I thought that was crazy because I didn't know that was what was coming. Of course, that's not the first time we saw people spitting in people's mouth, but yeah, this match was fantastic. From the nasty bump reversal DDT that Garcia did to MJF, to Adam Cole, to MJF using the Panama Slam, I believe it's called, Adam Cole's finisher. I thought Adam Cole might have showed up at that moment because that was fantastic. And MJF's like, I don't remember. MJF had a crazy submission. I always want to call it a chicken wing submission. I forgot what it's called, like what back bundle used to do back in the day. But like he just a crazy submission and went to a rope break, and just this match was disgusting. There was Danny Garcia spit up a booger which was full of blood, full of spit. A nasty pile driver very close to finish, and then of course MJF winning with a low blow like usual. And it's surprising people don't wear just cups at this point because MJF seems to always get away with the low blow. But great match. What else do you have to add for that match?
Yeah, I want to touch on the point where you said like MJF, his entrance coming out with the giant banner hung behind him. I think is just classic MJF. Makes him look, even more scummy. And then Daniel Garcia, being just the underdog, trying to get the advantage to start with attacking him from behind. I think that's builds him up a little bit. Makes him seem a little bit smart, even though he ends up losing to a low blow. Like you said, at this point in kayfabe, I won't be shocked for the day when someone wears a cup and they pull it out and it gets a huge pop just because of how often he wins like that.
Right.
Um, but no, I think they were great. MJF was just a great foil for him. They were able to really play off each other well. Garcia, kind of got the crowd behind him, and thanks in large part to MJF being MJF. But there was a lot of great spots, and I think it made Daniel Garcia still look good. MJF obviously came out looking stronger, but at the end, Garcia hitting with the pile driver and MJF leaving in the stretcher, probably means this feud is over for now. We'll see if they continue to build off it, but I think this was a good ending to the feud, a good way to kind of send it off. MJF gets the win, he looks strong, but Daniel Garcia, lost in underhanded fashion, was able to kind of get him back, send him away for who knows how long. So I think it was a good look for both of them, and like I said, really got the people going. Set the tone for the night, which I think was an overall just great night of wrestling.
Yeah, of course. This match was 3.5 out of 5. I have nothing really bad to say. There was some slow moments I would like to say about that during this match, but I have, like, honestly, it's a 3.5 is above average, and it's a good 3.5 is a good match. It was a really good match. nothing bad to say about it. Yeah. I again MJF easily the best star in AEW in my opinion. He's gonna be the future star, but we'll see where they go with it. But yeah. What do you feel about the match?
I would give it a 4 out of 5. I think it was, like I said, a super strong opener, set the tone for the night, and you really got to see two of AEW's brightest and best go at it and show what they're capable of. I think MJF usually gets the opening spot of the match or of the show, but I think he's perfect for it. Like I said, he's the perfect heel. He gets the crowd invested in him, so it's a perfect way to start the match. I think it was a 4 out of 5, really strong match. Like you said, not a lot to complain about.
Yeah. So our next matchup is the Young Bucks versus BCC, aka Claudio and Yuta versus Matt and Nick Jackson. That
Matthew and Nicholas, please be corrected when you're talking about our EVPs.
I didn't know that could be full name basis, but yeah. This was a solid match. I have nothing to complain about the Young Bucks here. Usually I don't care for their matches, but however, this match was not as gimmick as usual. Obviously, they do the super kick a lot, which it's fine at this point. I kind of expect it, but this was an average. It was a good match. Claudio's a good wrestler. And to be honest with you, I have nothing to really say about this match as much, is because to be honest with you, it wasn't a super special match. Uh, it was a good match. It was a good solid match. Cesaro, or excuse me, Claudio, had a very good reversal and into a swing, which was fantastic. And to be honest with you, like I said, I have nothing really to say much about the match, but I'll let you go before I talk about the ending of the match.
Yeah, no. Like you said, it wasn't a typical Young Bucks match. They started off, slow, really worked each other. I think it was more so because BCC, I think, is a little bit slower. They're a little bit more tactical. They're not all about the high flying pop or big spots like the Young Bucks are and who they're accustomed to facing. So I think it, was a solid match. I have nothing bad to say about it. But, they took their time and, they made sure to sell every moment to kind of work the crowd over, and then at the end they kind of picked it up, did their normal spots, and got the high impact offense in. So I'm not really upset with the match. Nothing crazy about it. Obviously, I think Claudio's superplex on Matt was probably the best spot. It was a great moment. It was fun, got the crowd going, but you know I think there's, maybe a need for a shakeup in the tag team division. We're kind of tired of seeing the Bucks, FTR, the same faces kind of run it. I think this match kind of shows that there's need for new life at the top of the card.
Well, as you mentioned that, I was gonna say that I know you're not gonna talk about the what's it called, 0 hour. Literally, the 0 hour was all tag matches. It was literally the Acclaimed versus the Iron Savages, then Hologram, Sammy Guevara, and Dustin Rhodes versus the Premier Athletes, and then the Bang Bang Gang versus the and Undisputed Kingdom versus Taylor Promotion, and the sorry the Andretti and Top Flight. I'm sorry, I don't know. I have no idea who that was. But
Yeah, they're a new tag team anyways with Andrade,
well,
so I get it.
so listen, we had a nine, basically a 9-man tag, basically three-way tag for last match, a trios match, and a tag match. I agree. I don't mind seeing the Young Bucks. I'm not the biggest fan of them. I get it. They're the EVP, so they have to be involved. But you know, no disrespect. You don't have to see the same people over again. I'm honestly surprised FTR wasn't here. I definitely thought FTR was gonna be in this. I'm like, they're gonna do FTR again. Thank God they didn't. I love FTR, but like I said, I know they love their tag matches, but we don't need to see the same tag teams. It seems like you have 400 wrestlers. Utilize the other ones that you have, especially in a short notice. Like you could build two different stories at the same time, just for one and all in and one for all out. I think that's a smart way to do it, but it is what it is. How they set up the pay-per-views. I don't know if you have anything to say about that, but pretty much I'll bring up the ending as well if whenever you're ready.
No, I get what you're saying, so I'm not gonna argue too much there. Like I said earlier, I think it's just time for some new faces. They, like you said, they have so many tag teams. There could be 7 stories going on with tag teams, and nobody would bat an eye. So the fact that, like you said, Young Bucks just and are the rushing stories are getting on both cards. Like one of them could have been, not for the tag team titles, could have been a different, feud or rivalry that they were able to build with tag teams, and then do the Young Bucks and FGR and Acclaimed here. You don't need to really rush to force everybody on the card like they typically seem to do.
Yeah, that's what AEW likes to do, but you know what? It is what it is. We kind of expect it at this point. Um, this is a 2.5 out of 5. Oh, but before we end it, they had a really really good finish at the end of the match. I knew Wheeler was going to take the pit because Tony Khan is very safe. No, I don't care what anyone says. He doesn't like his top people to be pinned. Wheeler's always going to take the pit hit because hey, you as good maybe people like him. He isn't a big name. Um, you know, so from what I remember was Matthew takes down Claudio with a super kick. Claudio hits reverse back with an uppercut and hits a superplex, but Matthew countered back with a fastball special and pins Yuta. I'm not surprised. Like I said, it's always going to be out of them four, it's going to probably be Yuta. It is what it is. So 2.5 out of 5. So average tag match for me.
I give it a 3 out of 5. Like I said, it was nothing special, but it was a nice change of pace for the Bucks, starting off slower and then working your way up to the crazy finish at the end. I think it was a kind of nice change of pace, and I appreciated the match. Nothing special, nothing crazy, right about average, maybe a little bit better, but the Bucks have done better, and and BCC has done better, so nothing remarkable to write home about.
Yeah. So with our next match, we will Osprey versus Pac. Um, I think this was easily the top match or one of the top matches. I still have a more favorite match in this. Um, again, very clear. This was a really good match. A lot of jumping, a lot of reversals. Um, I expect what I expect from Will Osprey, but I was more impressed with Pac. Um, like I said, Pac was in the tag match and all in for the trios for the BCC, and Pac always been a super athletic guy. Obviously, he was the king of cruiserweights in WWE as Neville. So I expect this match to be super athletic. What I liked about Pac in this match specifically, and to be honest with you, he was a really good a heel worker. Um, basically, like I said, with Will Ospreay, he's gonna be fast, he's gonna be athletic, he's gonna be quick. Not everyone's thing. Will Ospreay does impressive things, but when you're able to slow and tell a story, that's when it's great. And when Will Ospreay shines more because you could see his athletic ability being used correctly and being able to tell a story from a match. And I think Pac was the perfect person to do it with. What was your first thoughts about this match?
I mean, I hate to be that guy, but anything Will Ospreay touches at this point is gold. He truly is AEW's golden boy. He's the man who, if you want to throw out a banger, put him out there with anybody, and it's going to happen. It's like AJ Styles when he first went to WWE. It's like Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega. He's the standard. He's just got it. So this match was just precise, smooth, crisp. All the great words, everything he does. Like it's just exciting to see, and like you said, it was nice that they were able to slow it down a bit and tell a little bit of a story as opposed to just spamming spots. But at the same time, there's only so much you can say about a match like this. You have to watch it yourself. It's just Will Ospreay and Pac just doing what two masters of the ring do, and that was just put on a beautiful, beautiful match.
Yeah, the only thing I'll have to complain about this match specifically that I from I remember is please stop doing this sitting down in front of each other, legs crossed and smacking each other in the face, or just standing up and doing it. I think it's dumb. I don't think it really shows toughness. I just think it looks stupid. Um,
It is a bit overused at this point. I agree, but at the same time, everybody's doing it, and it seems like I know I wasn't there, but it seems like the crowd got into it when that happens, and I think that's just a good energizer for the crowd. But I'm with you. On TV, it does seem a bit lackluster. I know you were there, so you got to experience the crowd. I don't know if you felt that way.
I mean, like I said, it seems like Will Walker can't do no wrong. I'm more of so like you need to fully impress me to say that for me. But even then, my favorite wrestler in the world could do wrong still. If you don't do things right in a specific match, I will call it out. Whether you people feel that's right or wrong, I don't. I don't glaze over anyone. Just wrestle correctly, I would agree, and that's what I feel. Well, Osprey, like I said, no issue with him. He gets athletic and everything, but like I said, if you make him a spots fest, then that's all he is going to be to me. To be. A wrestling match is more than spots. So, well, Osprey put a good match. I think Neville told a great story. Um, yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, like I said, the beginning match honestly was a little slow. It was a spot fest like last time, where they jumped, lay down, jumped and lay down. Eventually, they were just kind of like, okay, no, we're not doing that anymore. We're just gonna get going, and they got going fast. Um, the best part was honestly the finish though. I could honestly I don't have to look at my notes for this at this point, but like I remember it clearly because like I said, it was very impressive. And like I said, I am very impressed with Will Ospreay and Pac. So it's not like I don't like it. It's like or he's doing all these things. There's places to do it when you don't do it. This from what I remember, you're on top of the rope. Pac does a Hurricanrana, and Will Ospreay reverses it into I believe I to the Tiger Pile Driver or Tiger Driver, excuse me. But then Pac reverses into a reversal Hurricanrana, gets the 1-2. AJ not I said AJ. Damn. Well, Osprey picks him up and does the Styles Clash. That's why I call him AJ. But and then to the Hidden Blade, which Neville's sold perfectly, clean. That sold me the match. It's a 4 out of 5 for me. I just wish the story had a little more build to it. Like I said, he has these great matches. I just want more build in his matches. I want more meaning in his stories. I think he'll get that once he's the AEW champion. And he's going to be champion. I don't know if it'll be this year or then the next year, but it's going to happen. So,
I agree with you. My biggest complaint for sure is the lack of build. How I feel like they rush a lot of the stories, but at the same time, I was a big fan of, like you said, the ending. Like it seemed like some of those counters were almost impossible. So seeing them like pull it off, just makes your jaw drop. So like I'm gonna give this match a 5 just because the in ring work was so solid, and it's hard to really nitpick anything. Going forward, I would like to see them, take a little bit of a long build with him and get him like a really long story. It seems like they might be going that direction with Ricochet heading forward, and I hope that they do. Don't throw it on, Grand Slam coming up or whatever's in Arthur Ashe. I don't know if they're calling it Grand Slam this year. I hope they don't just throw Osprey and Ricochet on that match. I hope they wait till maybe Full Gear. Really let them flesh out a story, and then that way when they actually get into the ring and they start doing this amazing stuff, we're even more invested in it, like as fans, as opposed to getting this great match. But it's like, where did all this bad blood and animosity come from in 1.5 weeks?
well, yeah, and this is Tony Khan needs to fix it. I understand he wants pay per views, he wants to be everywhere, but stop doing all in all out in 2 weeks. Last year was even worse when they did it in 1 week. Please stop that shit. I don't. It's not. There's no excuse for it. If WWE did that, AEW fans would be pissed. So I just like in general, there's no storytelling, and you have a big enough roster at least to tell 2 different stories. For the love of God, use it. I don't think I don't I'm not a wrestling promoter, so I can't say anything. But like I'm sure enough, I'm positive you have enough people in your ears to tell you, hey, maybe you should spread it out, or someone could help you with your stories. I don't know if you need help, do it, but don't let us suffer through that. Matches were good. It's easy to watch in person. But for long term storytelling, please, for the love of God, fix what you're doing. But besides that, the match was amazing. What did you
Shane McMahon,
what did you rate it? By the way, I'm sorry.
a 5 stars.
Okay. Yeah. By the way, guys, I will not rate most matches 5 stars. So my rating and his rating and my rating are different. So don't put us in the same tier about that. But yeah, it's 4 out of 5. What's the next match? It's the Chicago Street fight from I remember. It was where was it? It was
Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander.
yeah. I wrote their name. I couldn't figure where. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Um, I was there for this match. Like I said. Um, very spot heavy. I have nothing bad to say though about this match. Really, I mean, the thing is, it's just spot heavy. It's a gimmick match. You know how I feel about them. It's just people going through tables, swanton to table. I brought the light bulbs out. They were fighting near the entrance. I believe a spear through a table. It's a high spot gimmick match. Not my favorite. I really have nothing negative to say because that's what I expect from a match. But I didn't really rate this match pretty much. I didn't rate this match high at all, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I mean, when it's a gimmick match, there's only so much you can do. But I feel like they did a lot. Like you have the light tubes. Stokely comes out with the chair right away. They have the thumbtacks. They're doing, there's power bomb through an announce table. Like there's a lot going on here. So I'm not upset with it. They brought out hockey sticks. They bleeding.
So
So I'm all for it. For what it is, it's going to be a good. It's a fun match. It's not the most technical sound, but like it's a street fight. You're expecting them to go out and just try to kick each other's ass, and that's what they did. And both like Willow and Chris are both more powerhouse wrestlers, anyways, in terms of women wrestlers. So I think this was a fun spot. This was a fun spot fest, and there was some story behind it too. Statlander going against her former friend, and she
right.
she got the clean win over Willow, which was a bit surprising, but
Yeah, I was surprised too that went with a little loss. Um, yeah, I like I said, there's nothing me. I'm not gonna talk negative about this match because it's what I expected from AEW Street Fight match. They're gonna bring out the thumbtacks, they're gonna bring out everything. Not my favorite match, but it's just what was it? It's basically a 3 out of 5 because it's above average. But I can't. It's not like to me. It's not wrestling. I know it's different styles of wrestling, but it's just a crazy. It was a good match to watch. It was a gimmick match, and it's fun to watch. But I can't give it much higher than that.
I'm with you. It's also a three. It's 3 out of 5. It's a good match. It was fun. It was a fun little sprint. Change of pace from this instant classic technical everything going on with Pac and Osprey to just a fun. We're gonna beat the shit out of each other, and we're gonna you're gonna like it. We're gonna bleed. We're gonna do everything. So here's all these moments and spots for you to change the pace. So I think it was a 3 out of 5. I think it fit the pay per view well. And then like I said, they're building Statlander up. I think she's gonna be going against Monet or probably Monet next, and it's gonna be another fun match hopefully. So we'll see where they go from here.
Yeah, hopefully for sure. Next was the four-way with Okada versus Konosuke, Orange Cassidy, and Mark Briscoe. Um, like I said, to be honest, I remember the three other people were like unknown. I didn't know if they announced it before Rampage or whatever it was. I found out while at the show. So, um, yeah, this was a, no, a non-story match, and again, I know I spoke about having stories and this and this. This this was I was okay with this. It's okay to have a randomized match that you don't know who's gonna wrestle to have a fun, good wrestling match. The match went like for like 15 minutes, I believe. Yeah, it actually was 15 minutes on the dot from checking now. Yeah, which is great. And I love Okada. I'll say that right now. And I love Orange Cassidy. Mark Briscoe, I haven't watched too much of in Konosuke. I just know he had a big story. I know he betrayed someone in BCC, or isn't that correct? I can't remember. Or he betrayed someone else.
Well, his biggest thing that he did was betraying Kenny, kind of like joining
Oh
with
yeah, it was
Don
Elite.
Callis and betraying Kenny.
Yeah, when Kenny was on Elite still. Yes, you're right. I remember he betrayed someone really big in AEW. I wasn't sure it was John Mox or Kenny. Um,
I mean, he was working with the BCC a little bit too, so like that wasn't so crazy. But like it was mostly the Kenny story was like the huge story, and then he gets like the clean win, and they kind of did nothing
correct.
with him for a little bit.
You're right. You're right. And they did nothing with him. You're right. I'm not surprised, but that's what happens with a lot of wrestlers. Anyways, not to trash this match. I love Okada. Like I mentioned in All In. Learn about it. That's my first time seeing him wrestle a lot, and it was really good. Um, so the first thing they did was I forgot who knocks out who, but basically Okada and Konosuke just stare at each other. And I'm assuming they had history in New Japan, which makes sense. They're both Japanese wrestlers. Um, and Orange Cassidy came in, interrupted them. Like I said, I love Orange Cassidy. Try to do the no pockets thing, and they both grabbed his hand. They're like, nope, we're not doing no pockets. Uh, a lot of good wrestling. The crowd was chanting F Don, which was kind of funny. Um, yeah, it was.
Crazy how much heat that guy has still. Like he hasn't done anything major since betraying Kenny, but that man just has perma heat. It's amazing, no matter
I
what he does.
I don't really know I know he did. I don't like. I wasn't watching like AEW back then. I still don't care for him, so I agree. F Don, but he's obviously good enough to heal for me to say that. But yeah, there's a lot of good wrestling in this match. Obviously also with history we talk about that. We know Briscoe and Orange Cassidy were on a team for a bit, or they still on the tag teams still, or a stable at least. So there's all these wrestlers kind of knew each other at one point. Obviously knew each other or somewhat wrestled with each other at certain points of the career or teamed up. So it creates good chemistry between them. I don't know how you feel about this match.
I think it was a fun. I think it was a really fun match. You throw in 4 wrestlers of that caliber, they're going to do something fun. And I don't love like you said that once again Friday on Rampage or Collision I think it was they rush and build this match like yes I want Okada on as many pay per views as possible. Don't get me wrong, but we don't have to force it. And they could have built a good story and feud. Would have been much more interesting to me at least. But
Yep.
I'm hoping from here they build something between Okada and Takeshita. I don't know if they'll be able to because they're both heels, but that match would just burn everything down. It would be such a great match. So kind of hoping for that. I just don't know how they can get there realistically. But the match itself, like this match, like you said, it was a great match. So much going on, but they're just four pros. They know each other. They have chemistry. They it was just a fun match. 15 minutes of just great wrestling.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised they put on a good wrestling show. The only thing I really got to complain, I remember for some reason I know like that, like I said, both these people were either teaming up or they have chemistry together. But this Cassidy and Briscoe were giving each other, half-ass smacks between each other, which was kind of like weird, like it looked bad. And then Okada and Konosuke were giving bad elbows between each other, like looked awful. Um, Okada eventually like adjusted, and then it was a really really good finish. From what I recall, um, you know, it's just they had a really good spot. Okada, and here's the thing. I guess that Briscoe was gonna take the fall because I knew it wasn't gonna be a Konosuke, and I knew Okada wasn't losing, but I was wrong with Cassidy. I forgot Cassidy usually wins a lot of matches, so him taking one loss ain't gonna hurt, or taking the pins ain't gonna hurt. But this is like honestly, this match kind of reminds me of a classic like 80s 90s match that you would see in WWE or WCW when it's just kind of like, hey, let's put four good wrestlers together and just hey, let's put on a decent match, with minor story or previous history of each other. So, I mean, yeah, it's just not my favorite way to always put. I wish one thing I'm gonna say is Okada needs a story outside of the elite. Um, and I'm gonna talk about that little more in a little bit later on. But to mention this, I feel like he's mentioned with the elite, obviously always with the elite, but there's no story for him. Like the Young Bucks had the FTR thing, right, and somewhat the BCC. Uh, Jack Perry has his whole thing with it being the what's his nickname again? I apologize. Can you give me remind me real quick?
The scapegoat.
The scapegoat, and then he has his own like championship match with against Brian Danielson, and he has his other like stories to tell. Okada, I just feel like he's just there, and I know it's because he's really good. Sort of like he's just the really good wrestler that we have. That's basically like you know that replaced Kenny Omega essentially, which is I'm okay with. Obviously, it is what like it's a great storytelling idea, and people I know they're just building up for Okada versus Omega, but like I'm not saying he hasn't done anything, but like what major story he's been in by himself that's been like that's AEW's created for him. I know like you said mentioned Konosuke and Okada, but that's something New Japan from what I recall. So it's just like please give him a story. I think like just give him a singles match with a story. I don't think he needs to be wrestling all these other matches. He's your intercontinental or not your intercontinental champion. He's your
Continental.
he is the continental champion. Sorry, yes. Yes, see, I'm getting international continental, and the TBS or TNT, excuse me. But yeah. So, but you have anything to add to that, or I'll just get my grade.
Oh, you can give your grade first, and because I pretty much agree with what you're saying.
Three and a half out of five, 3.5 out of 5. Not like I said. I'm not saying it's a bad match. It's above average match. Great fatal 4-way. Good wrestling. No story though, and I really want just Okada to have a main story, please.
Which I agree, and I think they'll get there. But it's just when now that this long sprint is over, hopefully they can build something of substance. But I give it a 3 out of 5. It was a great match. There were some clunky spots, like in particular double Hurricane Rana. That spot is a hard spot to do right. So
Correct.
just certain things, and a fatal 4-way always kind of gets clunky in certain moments. But overall, it's a 3 out of 5, a solid match that I would watch again and I would enjoy.
Correct. And so the next match is Mercedes Mones versus Sheeta. I'm gonna let you go first with this one, because this is your girl. So let me go with you because I'm gonna rant about this match like in right after you're done, and I don't want to be interrupted for this.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it was a solid match. I think she can build the better stuff, but at the same time, I think this was just a good match. Obviously, there was a lot of fun sprints going on. They had the Will Ospreay pack match, and then they do the street fight, which is a spot fest, and then the Fatal 4-way, which is another with four great wrestlers. So it's hard to follow when we're going like this. But at
Correct.
the same time, I feel like they still did a great job. They showed a great story. the pace was slow, but at the end, like the final couple minutes, I feel like they really unleashed a lot. And, you had people, going crazy for both Sheeta and Monet, and they're both, into the match. The fans were. I know you have your thoughts about it, but I felt like it was a great match, but there's still room to grow. Obviously, it wasn't their best performance. I think Monet's still trying to get back into the ring shape. She was out for so long, and just trying to readjust to being a full time wrestler after she was out for what felt like a year or a year and a half. So
Yeah.
it's going to be some readjusting, but I still think this was a very very solid match. Something that you know shows that she's getting better with each pay per view. She's getting back into the swing of things, and then her coming out, just Monet and Sheeta just had awesome gear. I don't know. I feel like they looked like stars. They looked great. So nothing to complain about there. But I know you got a lot to say, so I'll let you say it.
Well, first of all, the gear was awesome. Shira looks like she's wearing something from Attack on Titan. I was fine with it. Mercedes always looks fantastic. I like her entrance too. And before I say this, I did like Mercedes in WWE. I liked her wrestling as Sasha Banks. But let me tell you what AEW messes up sometimes with compared to WWE. That's a little frustrating with me. If your wrestler can't like perform the things they can't perform, or they can't perform the way they can, please protect them. She's a two-time champion. What's her second champion besides the TBS champion? Is it New Japan?
Yeah, she was for uh for the Japanese women wrestling. I forget what it's called, but she
Right.
was a champion for them.
And she's still the champion, correct?
I think so. I don't think she lost it.
Right. So okay. So she won two out of three in her first three matches. She won two championships, I believe. And I get it. She is going to be the biggest AEW women's wrestler. Sorry, Britt Baker, but Mercedes Moné comes from WWE. Naturally, is going to be a bigger name, and she just was one of the better WWE wrestlers, if not the best WWE wrestler, and for women. And just I was disappointed as heck in this match. What I'm going to say, what I was saying mentioned before, if you can't do the things you're trying to do, please don't do it. It looks bad. She tries to wrestle fast, but she's so sloppy with it. It almost feels like she was concussed, which people are saying she was. But if she was, then please end the match in a different way or quicker. It was just awful. Um, she tried. Look, here's the thing. She tried, right? I'm gonna say she tried, but it seemed like Sheeta was holding back like 90% of the match because she didn't know if like it would look right against like hurting, I guess, Mercedes. I don't know why she was doing that. That's also on Sheeta as well. I mean, and here's the biggest part. I'll just say this, mention this now. Not only the match was sloppy, the finish was very stupid. I believe it's called a triple Falcon Arrow, like which is she does like finisher. She kicks them. It looked awful, and Mercedes didn't like respond correctly, and it looked awful. And then she does the pin, right? And at one, she just breaks down and just rolls out of the ring. And then Sasha, or excuse me, Mercedes hits her finisher. I don't know if it's because she was concussed. Some people, I think one player can say that, but by far, this was the worst match I've seen in a long time. It felt like a match I watched on SmackDown that I was like I had my phone up for. Um, Please protect your wrestlers if they can't wrestle or they're concussed or they are not able to wrestle on the level they're trying to do. Please protect them. It's what WWE does with Jade Cargill, and I know Mercedes is way better wrestler than Jade is, but like if she is not in shape and you're giving her these singles matches, and I believe that match was about 15 minutes long. I'm gonna double check. It was 16 minutes. It was longer than the Fatal 4-Way, and it was longer than the other women's match. Protect her. Don't make her look stupid out there. She looks stupid out there. She looked bad. She looked like I honestly thought this match was ass. You're not gonna like my score for it. It was a half star out of 5. This was worse than the Hook and Jericho match. I couldn't believe what I watched. I almost felt it during the match that whole damn show. I That was the only match I felt tired during too. And like I said, maybe because it was through the 3 spot matches or 3 crazy great matches, but then put them in a better place. Maybe it's not fully her fault, but it's a production team fault, Tony Khan's fault. You need to protect your wrestler. That's my take on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to disagree with you. I think this was a solid match. I'd give it 2.5 stars. It wasn't the best performance, but it was nearly not as bad as you're making it out to be. Like I said, there was a lot of good spots. They took it slow, and then eventually at the end they're picking up speed, and I thought it was a good match. Sheeta made a mental error thinking about using the kendo stick. Mercedes, being
That was
playing
also
kind of
very
the
stupid.
heel, she was able
Like
to take advantage of that. So I don't hate the match at all. I think it's probably one of the worst matches of the night, but I don't think it was half star where I couldn't watch it again.
I'm glad you mentioned the kendo stick. I actually wrote that down, but I was so angry I didn't read it. Yeah, that was very stupid. Why the hell she would hold a kendo stick to disqualify herself in the match? Like the
No,
whole
I agree with that.
that like the whole point.
This is just her character though. Is she's trying to walk the straight line, but she gets tempted because Mercedes is who she is.
I get it, but like the whole point to win the championship. I like I said, I get it. People are hitting this borderline thing, but like you're really screaming about not hitting someone with a kendo stick. Just please, I maybe that's her character. It's fine. I disagree. It just needs to work on that. You have nothing else to say. Let's just add to the next two main events. I call them both main events. I know people aren't saying that, but it's the co-main events. So Brian Daniels for Jack Perry for the AEW World Championship. Um, Fantastic match. Um, the scapegoat, obviously, one of the biggest, going to be the biggest heel in Chicago for obvious reasons for CM Punk for All Out or All In last year. Um, and he was a scapegoat. I still think Tony Khan is a loser for not taking care of the situation better and blaming Jack Perry when the whole problem is his fault. But let's a whole nother discussion. I'll yell about Tony Khan about, and I don't like Tony Khan, FYI, guys. But getting into the match, you know, think about it. If it happened, we mentioned this like last year. Hey, Jungle Boy or Jack Perry's going to main event All Out with Bryan Danielson. You would laugh because like, why would Jack Perry be up there? They have done such a one thing AEW has done great, and this is one thing Tony Khan did great. Even though I'm not a big fan of Tony Khan, uh, they built Jack Perry up from being nothing, and they took advantage of what he did to being a great heel. And Bryan Danielson did a great job wrestling Jack Perry. This is his biggest match probably in the AEW. And you're a big Bryan Danielson fan. Go ahead and tell me what you think.
I thought it was a good match. And like you said, Tony Khan, while you disagree with a lot of what he did, I still think I think he's good at what he does. I think he's just kind of, gotten away from certain things that made AEW special. But they did a great job of turning what was a shitty situation into a great new gimmick. I think the scapegoat for Jack Perry, before when he was Jungle Boy, nobody saw him as a single star. Everyone saw him as a tag team guy who's solid, who the likable baby face, but not much to go with. Now as a scapegoat, I think he's got a lot of potential. So I really do like that. But no, I think this match was great. I mean, it was a clear case of them trying to build up Jack Perry. I think he got a lot of great offense and
Right.
looked very strong. But and Danielson too is the perfect dance partner for that. He's like Will Ospreay, like I said. He's someone who can make anybody look good. So that was Brian's job, and that was to make Jack look good, make him look strong, but at the same time, he's Brian Danielson. So when he starts to get his offense going, when he starts to make the comeback, everybody buys into it. Everybody's going to get behind it, and him winning in the fashion that he did, I think it was a good match. I think it was very 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 solid. I'm going to give my grade right away, but like it was a 4 out of 5. Brian
I
looked
agree.
great. Jack looked really strong, even in a loss. And, nobody expected him to win. Nobody thinks he's going to be the one to retire him, but it was a fun little story. It worked well, and I think the match itself was something that, you can watch again.
Yeah, 4 stars out of 5 for sure. Bryan Danielson will be probably the AEW's best wrestler they have. There's tiers to it. I think Kenny Mega's up there. Ospreay is not there yet for me. Let him build up in AEW first, slash whatever. If he does ever do AEW, let him build there. Let them. But yeah, he good match. Obviously, I think Bryan Danielson is going to retire at Wrestle Dream in Seattle. Makes sense in my head. Um, I'll tell you what I think my prediction for that later on. But good match. No one expected Jack Perry to win, but again, they need to build him up because he's probably to be the next second best heel behind MJF. If M Cole ever returns, maybe third, but we'll see. 4 out of 5. I have nothing negative to say to the match. Let's real quick talk about what happened after. Obviously, um, as I was
Yeah,
watching it,
Christian coming out, threatening, which I don't get. When is this, winning the pin, Money in the Bank? I don't get when they changed this, but whatever. I guess it only works for Christian and Kill Switch that way. But Christian comes out and the BCC feigns like they're coming to protect him, and then they do the unthinkable and they turn on him. And this hurts me in a different kind of way because my two favorite wrestlers are John Moxley and Bryan Danielson. So that faction was the best thing that ever happened to me, and seeing it blow up was sad. But I'm excited to get another version of Bryan versus Mox, where hopefully Bryan wins. I don't think Mox is going to be the one to retire him. I
No.
could be wrong,
Yeah, I
but I think they're going to put on a great match. They always do, and this time there'll be a better story behind it because the other times it was kind of they won a tournament, so they had to face, and then they were fighting over William Regal's affection. So I think this is going to be a better match than the other three or the other two I think they've had.
yeah, I didn't watch the other two matches unfortunately, and it is what it is. But like, yeah, John Moxley's not gonna be the one to retire Bryan Danielson. So I truly believe it's gonna be Darby Allin and Seattle. Makes sense, both their hometowns. And I think Christian Cage will ruin that win for Darby Allin like usual because they had that rivalry back in the day. Um, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Great match. BCC betraying. I did tell this to Luke when we were watching. I'm like, it's weird how Pac had a really heel match against Will Ospreay earlier today, and he's with the BCC was a face. And as soon as I said that, John Moxley or Claudio punches or uppercuts Bryan Danielson, and Wheeler gets back. I'm not surprised Wheeler is the one that stays face because again, I think he's the odd man out. Unfortunately, not a big wrestler on his name on his own. Pac's a bigger name because of what he did in WWE and New Japan and obviously in AEW. Um, Mox obviously a huge name. Claudio's a huge name. Um, and then Yuta's just the odd man out. Unfortunately, I think he's gonna once the thing ends with the storyline. I think he's not gonna be wrestling that much in AEW. Good run, but unfortunately, this is what it is. But if you have nothing else to say about that, Dynamite is tomorrow. We can talk about that a little bit tomorrow if we can. See what Mox has to say. Let's get into the main event, which was one of the craziest matches to watch. Uh, Adam Page versus Swerve. And like I said, I was there, and let me tell you, it was a very hard match to watch because obviously we know the rivalry between Swerve and Hangman. Um,
Blood rivalry, literally and figuratively.
yes, and one thing is hard to say about this kind of match when you're watching it in person, you can't see facial reactions. You can't see that. You can't get that feeling. Obviously, they're just hitting each other, stapling. Like they start with a stapler, hard to watch. Um, but there was just a lot of times they were just laying down doing nothing. And obviously, when you're in person, it's different. You can't see it. So often, honestly, I was watching this match, watching off the screen, the jumbo screen, and I realized then that's when I started liking the match more. Because originally I didn't like the match. I was like, this is just them hitting each other hard, and that's it. And I don't care for death matches in wrestling. I think they're stupid. Um, but to say this right now, they put on good facial reactions. Good, they looked at it. You could tell, you could feel like the hate, not because they're hitting each other. Because, for example, Drew and McIntyre and CM Punk hate each other, right? I know people say different levels, sure, whatever. It's the way your face looks, way you react during a match, way you give attention to the match. Is you can watch that better on TV than you're in the crowd. So again, when I first watched it, didn't care for it. Slowly, as it builds up the match, with the staples, with the cinder block, which was disgusting, um, to the finish, to the barbed wire. I enjoyed this match. Like I hate death matches, but because the rivalry was so good and the way they built up each hit, and you can see in their faces. I rewatched it later that night on TV, like, and to see like the action I was missing. Um, best match of the night. This was easily the way you tell a death match. And you don't need a death match to teach stuff. But if you're going to use death match, make sure you use it 100% correctly. I might talk before I go too far about this. I'm gonna like just keep talking.
No, I agree. I mean, this was the best rivalry coming into the night. Obviously, this is their fourth match, and Adam Page has been obsessed with getting back at Swerve, getting his win. He goes to burning his child home house, and it was just a great match, great build. Like you said, I'm watching from TV. I wasn't in person like you were, so being able to see the hate, the animosity, the matches can be hard to watch when you got people stapling each other, drinking blood, doing all this stuff that they do. But it's the only match that it makes sense for. Like I hate when you do a Hell in a Cell with WWE, and it's like These guys are having their first match, and why is it already Hell in a Cell? There's no real animosity. These guys, there's real animosity. There's real stakes. They keep like Swerve breaks into his home. Hangman burns down his house. They're doing stuff that has real stakes to it. That makes you really like believe that these guys want to be in a death match. They want to kill the other one, metaphorically, obviously, but great match.
Right. And like I said, it's not about people. I don't love death matches at all. I think that's not wrestling to me. But if you're gonna do it, make sure you do it right. You know, people like do this thing where they love the Attitude Era. It's because of, well, they used to use steel cage with blood everywhere, this and that. That's the wrong part of wrestling that people like. I think don't remember. I think there's beauty to every kind of match. It's hard to have a beautiful death match because it's just hitting each other hard with things that humans should be hit with. But they did a great job, and you could feel for the match. Like I said, I first didn't care for this match because I was like, this is just stupid. They're just hitting each other with a stapler. They're stabbing each other with a piece of wood. Do you think I'm gonna I care? But rewatching the match and not only seeing the jumbo screen, like seeing their facial reaction, and you get the tension, you get the feeling. You realize there's more to the match than just hitting each other really hard. Because honestly, here's the thing: they didn't need all that stuff. They probably could have had a force, like they could probably have a really great match without any of those hard hitting. But they made sure they like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this correctly, and they did it. The last thing they did with the syringe loaded probably with drugs. I don't know what they loaded up with, to a violent chair shot to knock Swerve out. Fantastic. Like I said, as soon as he did that, I was like, damn, that's gonna hurt. And then I'm like, damn, that even hurts even more. And he won like that. And you know, I hope this is a lesson learned. And I hope AEW doesn't do this thing where they're like, okay, we need more death matches. No, you had this one. Save it for the right moments if you're gonna do it, and save it with the right wrestlers. Not everyone could do a death match correctly. They did it. Don't don't repeat mistakes before, especially not only if AEW does the same thing. Oh, that was a great match they did. Let's repeat the same thing. No, it needs to be with the right wrestlers, right story, and everything. So this was a 4 out of 5. I don't like I said. Reason why it's not really I don't like these kind of matches, but they did this match perfectly. 4 out of 5. Um, I think this was the match. I know I have similar two other matches with the same grade. That's fine. This is the best match of the night. It slightly beats the other two. Brian Danielson beats Will Ospreay. There was no mistakes in this match, in my opinion. I'll give it 4.5 out of 5. That's where to make it for sure that that's the best match.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I think it was, like I said, a very good match. The emotion, story behind it. Death matches, spot fest, not their best technical matches, but this one made sense. Everything they did added up, so I'm not mad at all. This was, a great way to end the night. It was probably the second best match of the night in my opinion, so I'm very happy with the way that the show ended, and I give the overall show a 4 out of 5. I think they put together, solid card front to end. Had a lot of big moments. I think they smartly placed the card too. Have MJF in the middle, and with Brian, and then the unsanctioned lights out match with Swerve and Adam Page to give the final taste. I think it
Yeah,
was a great card overall.
yeah. No, this is better. This is better than All Out for me. For sure. I like this show a lot better than All Out. I know some people might disagree with me with that. I kind of don't care. That's my opinion. I enjoy wrestling in a specific way. Other people don't. Um, so I'm gonna give this show a. I'm sorry, I'm doing math right now. I'm giving this match a. Yeah. Oh yeah. It is, it is a 4 out of 5. Okay. There we go. It's a yeah, to 4 out of 5. Yeah.
Which I think is the right grade. I obviously agree with you there.
Yeah. This is better than All Out. Or All In. Excuse me. This is better than All Out last year, in my opinion. Um, this is easily their best pay per view, even though it was short storyline telling. The matches were just a lot better, and maybe because I have a better opinion because I was at the show than watching on TV. Any do. If you have nothing else to say, I'd like to end the match or end the conversation here, and we could talk more tomorrow about after our debate if we have more to say about All Out or anything.
Yeah, check us out tomorrow on Twitch, 8:30 Central Time. We're gonna be talking Jordan LeBron, and then yeah, if we have time after, if there's anybody in the stream, we'll talk with them, or we'll just continue this discussion and see if we have anything more to add. But this was more just a general review, first thoughts and impressions on the show.
Yes. So September 11th, we'll be on Super Debate Bros on Twitch and YouTube. Having uh, we'll be having our video for LeBron versus Jordan. Stay tuned, and we'll talk to you guys later. Take care.
Take care.